Greetings, punks, goths, metalheads, herberts, herbetters, Martians and subterranean folk. How you're all doing? My name's John and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, I'm going to do a questions and answers today because a short while ago I put a post on YouTube and on my Facebook saying if you've got any questions you want to ask me, then write them down. Now today I've gathered all the questions up and I've wrote them down on little index cards to make it easy. I could have done it indoors, but I thought it's a nice day today. Why sit indoors when I can be out doing a walk? So I'm just having a little pause on my walk today in one of my little favourite secret chill out spots, and I'm going to do the question and answer session here. Just before I start, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the positive feedback we had on the Romance of Broken Minds demo track. That the singer of our band, he put a video out to it and I posted that up recently, and we got some really lovely comments, especially on his site and on mine on YouTube as well. Got some really nice comments and feedback, and we're basically just testing the water to see, you know, what the response is before we go ahead and do more. So far it's really good. Now it is available on Bandcamp. I'll put the link below. Now the singer's set it up on Bandcamp, and any money that he makes is going to put into putting out a physical release, either CD or cassette tape or something like that. There'll be a physical release if he gets enough money up. So, you know, if you want to give it a listen, if you want to buy it, then check it out on Bandcamp. So I'll get into the questions now. I've wrote them down on these cards and I'll go through them with you. So first question is, when I start my videos, what is it that I say after punks, goths and metalheads? And that's by Melanie Bazel or Basil. Well, what that is basically I'm saying herberts and herbetters. It's like a London slang word really, and it sort of means like anybody else. So I'm basically saying anybody else. For an example of that, it's like someone who you don't know usually. So sometimes it's like, say you was at a pub in London and someone knocked your drink over while you was in the toilet. You come back and you go, geez, some herberts knocked my drink over. So basically that's the kind of thing that it means, and I just thought it'd be funny to add on the end of my intro. And I say herbetters, like the female version of herberts, which was just a bit of a joke. Also there's a series of punk oi skinhead albums out called Punk Skins and Herberts, and it's a bit of a play on that really. But thanks for your question. I hope it clears it up because there's probably quite a few people that wasn't sure what I meant or what I was saying. Right, so the next question is, when did my vegan journey begin? And this is also by Melanie. Well, it started back way back. I was vegetarian before I was vegan, and started off when I was a kid. I just once I was about 3 and I realised what meat was. I think I saw some sheep carcasses hanging up in a butcher's, or they might have been pigs without the heads, just like bloody stumps. And it kind of shocked me and horrified me. I asked what it was, and they said, you know, that's pigs or sheep. That's what we eat, and put me off it. And once I realised it was animals, and I've never wanted to eat it since then. And I became vegan more recently, about 7 years ago, because my daughter, who I brought vegetarian, I said, when you get to 18 you can choose what to eat, whether you eat vegetarian or whether you eat meat. And she surprised me and went vegan, sort of like, which is a bit of a step further than even that I was. So I thought, well, fair enough, I'll let my daughter try my diet when she was a kid, and she tried, you know, vegetarian stuff, so it's only fair. And it'd be nice if I try my daughter's way of her going vegan. And I've been thinking of going vegan for a while anyway. It'd been on my mind. So it was just a little bit of an extra push, and you know, I've never looked back since. I've never been happier with what I'm eating. So thanks for that question. So next question up, we've got, I am very curious about your hair. Is it attached to your hat or is it your real hair? And this is from Star Raven's Gothic Eternity. No, this is not my real hair. This is like wool. There is a few like real dreads in that used to be mine when I grew them, but When I shaved it all off, I kept the dreads, so I've attached a few of those in there, but it's mainly wool. We go back years ago, like when I was in my teens and my 20s. I was more into punk then than goth, and I had mohawks, all kinds of colours. I'll put you a couple of photos up here. Some ancient photos there. And when I got to about 30, my hair started going really thin on top and getting really sparse. So I shaved the top off and just kept the back. It was kind of like a skullet rather than mullet. And I had it like that for quite a long time. Then eventually that turned into, I had all the back in dreads. Now I really liked it like that. It was a really good cut, probably my favourite. But it was really difficult to keep shaving the shaping at the back, doing it on my own. So eventually I cut it off, which I regret in a way, but maybe at another point in the future I would like to grow the back in kind of a skullet and have it in dreads again. Now, the very favourite colour I've ever had it in is green, because like even nowadays you get a lot of people who aren't alternative even with coloured hair, but green's still quite alien and Martian and a bit out there. So if I had it again at the back, my own hair, I'd have it green. But for now, it's just decorating the hats basically. I was customising these hats which were plain when I got them, and I thought, why don't I add some of my old dreads onto the back, just like an attachment. And then I made some wool ones and I added them. It just makes it a bit brighter, adds a bit more colour. Seeing as I've shaved all my dreads off, it's just a nice way to present myself to the world. And when I go out and do my videos, I always wear my hat, or a different hat than this. And when I go out to gigs, I'll wear this hat or one of my others. And a lot of the time when I'm not going out, just day to day, you know, I've just got a shaved head now and this is what I look like now. Or sometimes even I'll just go with a normal type cap on. But anywhere special, like going out, you know, for a night out or to a gig, I'll dress like this. And of course doing my videos as well makes it a bit more interesting for people, I think. This is basically how they go on the back of the hat. I'll just show you that now. So thanks for that question. I hope it's clarified things for you a bit. So next question up, we've got, what's the coolest dead thing I have found on my walks? And that's by Stinkerbell Punk. Well, I'd say the coolest thing I found was a bat. I found a dead bat by the side of the road. And it was really cool because, you know, you don't see bats often close up. And it was sad as well because it was dead. It was like quite cute, to be honest. It was like a little mouse, but with wings. And yeah, that was a cool thing. And I found loads of sheep skulls. Sometimes if I'm in the mood and I find a good one, I'll bring it home and hang it on my wall. But I've also found a fox skull, found deer skulls. But yeah, I do like finding skulls and things like that. If I'd have thought about it a bit more, maybe I'd have brought the bat home if I could think of some way of preserving it in sort of embalming fluid or something, but missed the chance now. So thanks for that question. Next question up. Have you ever considered wild camping, i.e. on a mountainside or a remote place? It's really good for the soul and you can get decant vegan dehydrated meals. I'd be happy to take you. If you ever fancied it, should you want to give it a go? That's by Trooper Wolfie. Yeah, I have thought about wild camping. I have done it a couple of times. It kind of remote-ish stone circles. And I've kind of done wild camping unintentionally years ago when I was in a band. And you do all these gigs and sometimes people would say, we'll put you up for the night. You can stay at our house after the gig. And a couple of times that fell through and we ended up sleeping on local parks in the summer, luckily, in sleeping bags. But yeah, the flakiness of some people you find when you're doing gigs. Yeah, I would consider doing it again. The issue is I live on my own and I've got a pet cat who's a house cat. So I can't leave it for too long. I mean, if I did the timing right, I have done it before when I've been camping overnight and I came back in the morning. So the cat wasn't on her own too long, because I don't think it'd be fair on her. I feel a bit mean leaving her. I mean, I think she'd get stressed if I was gone too long, because she's used to me being there. But yeah, I would give it another go, right circumstances. So thanks for asking that. So we've got another question up now, and this one is, have you ever considered doing a multi-day hike? Obviously a longer route, but not necessarily further from home. Phil Ward. Yeah, I have thought of doing multi-day hikes, and it's kind of the same answer to the last question. The last question was, it's been away from home too long because I've got a pet cat and I live on my own. She's a house cat, so it wouldn't be fair to leave her too long unless I could get someone to cat sit for me. Then possibly I'd do a multi-dayer. But I love all the hiking and stuff. It's just like I'm a bit tied up with the pet. Certainly an overnight camp's possible. So we'll see. Maybe we can build on that a little bit. But yeah, thanks for that question. I do love being outdoors, and you know, the longer I'm outdoors, the better. I'm surrounded by countryside where I am, so I'm not really stuck for it. I can just get out really easy when I want to. But yeah, it'd be nicer to do some longer walks. So yeah. So we've got next question up now. Do you like to read fiction? If so, what novels or short stories do you like? Also, what genres? And this is from The Place Beyond Time and Space. Yeah, I do like fiction. Obviously, my favourite book is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Hobbit. I love those. I read them as a teenager, though. And after those, it's like, where do you go next? I also do read some science fiction stuff. I remember reading this series of books called The Amtrak Wars. And there's a big series of thick books. It's sort of post-apocalyptic, and that was really good. I also read the Anne Rice vampire novels. They were really good, but I read them again a long time ago. But these days, it's not often I settle down with a book, and I should do, because there's absolutely fantastic books out there, and there's a wealth of stuff to read. It's just pinning myself down to sit and read a book, I guess. I'm always on the go. But thanks for that question. I do love reading when I actually sit down and get to it. I think there's too many distractions for me a lot of the time. So yeah, book-wise, I like fantasy, I like Tolkien, I like the Terry Brooks books, Sword of Shannara, stuff like that. And I like a lot of classic science fiction. And I remember I used to read the Conan books, funny enough, but by, was it Robert E. Howard? Yeah, I read like the whole series, and there's like, 40 or 50 books. So, oh, also, while I'm on this, I nearly forgot a big major one. I love H.P. Lovecraft and his sort of horror science fiction stuff. I absolutely love Lovecraft, and I even play the role-playing game Call of Cthulhu tabletop. So yeah, thanks for that question. So next question up is, how was it as I grew up as an alternative kid where I was from? And then it goes on to say, in my little village, and all alternative kids hanged out together no matter which subculture, our way to deal with mainstream kids. And that's by Sunnies. Well, when I was a teenager growing up, when I was 16, when I just left school, we used to hang around together. We knew a lot of the kids in the city where I am, in our local area, Stretford. I knew a lot of the kids who were into rock. I was into punk more at the time, although I liked goth as well. But yeah, I was mainly into punk, but I used to get on. I knew a lot of them from school. So, if we saw each other on the streets, we'd chat to the metal kids. And sometimes we could be going to the same clubs, like rock alternative clubs. We'd get the train together if we met each other, say on a Thursday or a Friday night. We'd see each other on the way and we'd go down together. So we got on well with the metal kids. the goth people that I knew at the time, they were a little bit older than me. They were about maybe 3 years older, and they had their own house, so they're a little bit older. And it'd be more of a case of we'd be going round to see them, or they'd invite us round and we'd go round for the evening, listen to music and chill out that way. And we'd see them mainly in the home, or maybe when we was out, we'd see them. The Ritz had an alternative Monday night, we'd see them there, and we'd see other goths there. We all got on together. I mean, in every subculture there's going to be idiots, but like 99% of us were good, solid people. I do remember a few of the older people in the metal scene, well, rock metal scene, were a bit bullying, a bit like boys to the younger metal kids. Remember one going on because some young metal kid had a studded wristband on this older one who was more into the, like, yeah, I don't know, classic rock stuff. He was going, oh, do you think you're really hard and tough with that spiky leather wristband on? It's like bullying, and really he was more like a normie who liked a few rock tracks rather than someone, I'd say, from a subculture. This older guy who was a bully. And that's, I think a lot of the bullies and a lot of the sort of negative people, not that I've come across many, they've always been a bit on the more normie side. But yeah, we all used to hang out together. You know, if there was, we go to these clubs with, you know, you go outside for a smoke or some fresh air, because it used to get very hot. I mean, that's funny to say. We used to get roasted in some of these places. So you'd be sat outside, or maybe having a chat where it's a bit quieter outside, and sometimes you get normies going past shouting like freaks, weirdos, and you know, we'd stick together and we'd tell them to go away, but in less polite terms, and we'd stick up for each other. If it was the rockers or metalheads get in trouble, or if it was goths getting, you know, bullied, we'd all stand up for each other, and we'd come together. So yeah, that was cool. It was very, very kind of more accepting, and more sort of the mainstream society was a bit less, well, was far less accepting. So thanks for that question. Yeah, we all got on pretty well in general. So this one, question 9, it kind of adds on to the previous question. This was by a different person who was commenting on the previous person's question. And it says to think about subcultures in pre-internet days and see how the various groups got along with each other and how others treated them and what others did and talked about. And that's by He Loves Horror. Pre-internet days was very different. So basically you'd be ringing each other up on a telephone, like a dial phone. So you ring each other up, or from your home, or you go into one of the public phone boxes, which always smelled of strong urine. So sort of go in there and you'd ring people up and organise to meet, or you'd have word of mouth. You'd say, if you saw someone on the street, you'll say, oh, I'll see you tonight at the club, or I'll see you tonight on the park, and you'd meet that way. Getting people's phone numbers was important, because it was your main, you know, communication. And you get people's addresses sometimes, you know, if you met other alternative people that you got on with. I had a few pen friends, and, you know, still miss having pen friends. It was quite nice back in the day. I'd write to different people across the country. I met my goth wife, who I used to be married to, like that, as a pen friend originally. So, yeah, that was cool. And something nice about having a pen friend. It's very different than instant messaging, you know, on your phone or on social media, because you've got that sort of anticipation of waiting and the excitement of getting a letter and opening it, and you have little bits and bobs into your letters, or little presents you put in sometimes. So yeah, that was cool. Another part of your question was how the various groups got along with each other and treated each other. So I've sort of spoke about that a bit. We got along with each other pretty well. Like I said, you know, we'd hang around in our own things, but, you know, it wasn't like I got on with every metal person. You know, I didn't have a problem with any of them. but some, you'd have some who you specifically liked. Like there's some metalheads who I'd always talk to because, you know, I just got on with them and they were my sort of person. Some of them, you know, I'd let on to. And it was the same with the Goths. Sometimes I'd have a good chat with the Goths at the time when I was more into punk. And, you know, it's like, so yeah, you got on, but you'd have friends within those subcultures, people that you sort of got along with more than others. And that's how it was, you know. So you'd have different subcultures, but there'd be certain people from other subcultures that were like really good friends, and some, you know, that were just sort of more associates. So yeah, I think the metalheads got on with the Goths all right, and sometimes you get a little bit of like mild rivalry, but it was only a little bit of joking. I mean, I think it was all, you're all in this greater alternative tribe, but you've got all these subsects of the tribe. I'll give an example of the Celtic Briganti tribe, which ran all over the Pennines. There's many sub-tribes within that, but they were all Brigantes. So there's also a bit in this question about how others treated you. The sort of normies in society, they're just like, being alternative, you was fair game. It was like, if you was different in any way, people thought they had the automatic right to be nasty to you, to call you names. I mean, you get into physical fist fights. I learned very quickly how to defend myself. And I think when I was really younger, I got attacked a couple of times just for being different. Then I think after that, I just had enough. I snapped and I just started fighting back. And once people see you, you're ready to fight back, they usually back down. But yeah, people just thought they could be abusive to alternative people back in the 80s and 70s. And you used to get, yeah, if you go into certain shops, you get followed by security. You go into certain pubs or bars, and as soon as you walked in, they go, no punks, no goths. And you just be refused service or to get a drink just because of the way you look. And I can remember many times in the summer, you know, there'd be alternative people, punks or goths or metalheads. You go into a pub in the hot heat and you say, can I have a drink? And they say, well, no, we're not serving you. We don't serve your sort in here. Sounds awful, but this is exactly how it was. And I can remember a goth guy once, and he had a top hat like mine, and he was going, look, I don't want alcohol. I'm just really thirsty because I have at least a pint of water. And they refused him even the pint of water in, you know, sweltering summer. So it was awful. I got told to get out of pubs. Even in pubs where I was allowed to get treated not great. I'm not saying everywhere, but in some. I got told to sit up straight once. So I was like, slouch down, I'll sit up straight. You know, and that was when I was a young kid. People used to bully you more. The older you got in a subculture, the less bullying you got. The younger you were in a subculture, you used to get horrendous bullying from society. But things have changed so much for the better, and I'm so glad for that. I'm so glad people don't have to deal with this stuff we used to deal with. It was horrendous. The last bit of your question is what sort of things we used to talk about. Well, obviously the first thing we used to talk about was music, bands. We used to talk about what bands we knew, or if we discovered a new band, we used to do each other tapes, or, you know, sometimes you'd ask for a tape, or you'd swap tapes. You'd tape them stuff, and they'd tape you stuff on cassette tape. So it was mainly music. Also, you talk about, you know, your romantic interests. Life in general. I can remember being young, you'd always have the big questions about, you know, what's the meaning of life, the universe and everything. 42, I know. And, you know, what is the universe contained within? What is shape is it universe? You'd have all these big questions, and you talk about how bad it was being treated badly by society for the way you were. And, just that kind of thing in general, joking, messing about. But yeah. So I hope that answers your questions for you. I'm going to leave it at that Now I've read the questions, so thank you very much for sending your questions in. It's helped me do this video today. Thanks to all the new subscribers I've got recently. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And for all you guys who've been subscribed for a while, cheers, you guys rock. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. And until the next video, don't forget, be different, stay weird, and stay free. Bye.